mat Pilates. We're going to be working on our core musculature, core meaning anything that attaches to our spine and pelvis. And grab your water, like take water breaks anytime you like. So if you have your device, you can place it down here so that your neck isn't like constantly strained. I'm going to have you guys to my left side. All right, Pilates, got to start with our breathing. I mean, we've already been breathing this whole day in our entire life, but we got to bring some awareness to our breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale out through pursed lips. So again, like you're cooling hot soup, you wouldn't like if you're warming your hands, it's a different kind of exhalation. The kind of exhalation we're doing is like you're trying to whistle unsuccessfully. Recruiting those abdominal muscles as you exhale. Take a couple more breaths here. Slowly and deeply. If you can, try to keep those shoulders always relaxed away from the ears, even as you're lengthening through the top of your head. And let's go ahead and roll down onto our mats. Slowly, one vertebra at a time. Good, continuing to breathe. Even if I'm not directly saying the words inhale and exhale, try to keep it going. Inhale and exhale. Our natural spine position is what we call neutral spine. So there's a small curvature in the lower back. So a small little arch. So there should be this tiny little space under your lower back right now as we lie in neutral position. Take one more exhale. Inhale, you're in neutral. And on this next exhale, imprint the lower back. So I don't know if you can really tell, but I basically got rid of that small space under my back. Inhale, back to neutral. If I were to really exaggerate the motion, you'd see my pelvis rocking a lot. During the positioning of neutral into imprint, it's a very small rocking of the pelvis. As you exhale, you're going to feel your tailbone just gently lift off the floor. And as you inhale into neutral, your tailbone goes back down and is replaced on the floor. Exhale, imprint, tailbone off. Inhale, neutral, tailbone on. We're going to now be in imprints and keep the imprints as we lift our legs to tabletop. Shins parallel to the floor, knees over your hips. The knees will stay bent at 90 degrees as you exhale. Tap the floor, inhale, return. Exhale and inhale. Moving with your breath. So we're not trying to speed up our breathing here. We want to try to keep it nice and slow as you exhale and inhale. You can have your hands down on the floor. If you'd like a little more challenge to your abs, you can reach those arms up, right over the shoulders, but make sure you're not protracting and pulling those shoulder blades off the floor. We want to keep our shoulder blades in a neutral position. My knees are not pulling towards my chest, they're staying right over the hips. One more time on each side. And if you'd like to try both legs lowering, go right ahead, exhale to lower. Again, keeping that 90-degree knee bend. This is a little more challenging to the imprint. Your abs have to work harder. If you feel the lower back come off the mat, then stop the lowering of your legs the moment you start to feel that. So maybe right here you feel your lower back start to come up, so we're going to stop just before that happens. Yeah, and exhale, lower, reinforce the imprint, inhale, lift. 2 more times. And last time. Good, take those hands, if they're by your hips. They're gonna go out to the side. We're gonna squeeze our shins together, our legs together, and we're gonna make some windshield wipers. Inhale to the side, exhale to the center. Inhale, lowering just halfway down. Now notice my heels haven't dropped. My quads are still very much engaged, holding that 90-degree knee position. Active arms here, so really press into those hands and arms to anchor the shoulder blade. Now you've gone too far off the legs if you feel the opposite shoulder blade lift off the mat. So really trying to anchor the shoulder blades the entire time. Inhale to lower, feel the stretch in the obliques, exhale to lift. Today we're going to do several oblique focused exercises, so I'm just going to warm us up here. It's okay if the knees separate, if you just didn't want to keep them apart like we did for the toe tapping. All right, let's finish up last time here. And then we're back to the center. Move those hands back, drop those heels. Feet are hip distance apart as we prepare for our shoulder bridge. Inhale. And the exhale will press through the feet, roll those hips up. Good. Shoulders, hips, and knees in one straight line. That's the top. Inhale, exhale. Starting from the shoulders, we roll down inch by inch, one vertebra at a time. That is your articulation. Inhale, exhale, slowly roll up. Squeeze the glutes. Reach those knees away from the shoulders. Abdominals drawing down. Glutes pressing up. Exhale to slowly come back down. Think about just exaggerating every movement. Imprint, lift the tailbone, really press to the heels, squeeze the butts. Squeeze your abs. Reach those knees as far away from your shoulders as possible. I mean, your knees aren't going to move anywhere, but if you think about reaching it, think about extending to the front of the body, you'll feel different muscles engaged. You'll feel more muscles engaged. Good, placing those hands on your thighs. Inhale, prepare, exhale. Use your abdominals, lifting the head and shoulder blades off the floor to slide those hands toward the knees. Inhale, hold, exhale, release. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, hold, and exhale, release. If you'd like to lift a little higher on the inhale, you can do that. So we're exhaling here. Inhale, I might lift another inch. Exhale, I take it all the way down. Inhale, prepare. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale. This is taking us into our hundreds, where we're going to be isometrically contracting the rectus abdominis. This is what we're working on right now, the rectus abdominis. Isometrically means we're going to lift the head, neck, and shoulder blades up and keep them up while we pump the arms 100 times. Now, what you choose with your legs is up to you. The challenge is about putting the legs in a certain position so that your abdominals are nice and challenged. Nicely challenged. All right, so if we're here holding, we can pump our arms with our knees bent on the floor, tabletop, legs together, legs straight, and legs on the diagonal. All right, my hamstrings are pretty tight, so I'm gonna focus on them today by keeping my legs straight. Yeah. Nod the chin, lift, reach those arms, and start to pump. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10. Inhale. Exhale. 20. Inhale. Exhale. Keep reaching. 30. Inhale. Exhale. 40. Inhale. Exhale. I'll lower my legs a little bit to challenge my imprint, challenge my abs. Exhale. 60. You can always change your leg position during hundreds. You can put your head down if you need to during hundreds. Inhale. Exhale. 80. Inhale. Exhale. 90. Inhale. Exhale. 100. And we gracefully come out of that. Try not to collapse to the floor after any exercise. Coming onto our stomach for spine work. Your arms are going to kind of form like a W on the floor. So your elbows are a little bit below your shoulders. And I'm pressing into my forearms. Now you can have your arms more forward if you want, but you don't want it too far forward because then you really can't press into the forearms. Tops of the feet stay on the mats, anchored for now. Inhale to lift. Now a lot of times when we do spine extension, we kind of forget about our lower body. When we think just about lifting the chest, keeping the chin down, head and neck aligned with the spine. But it helps to think about the butt. So we squeeze the butt, we squeeze the quadriceps. Even though we're not lifting the leg yet, when we do finally lift the leg, all those muscles are going to be engaged. You are going to engage the quads and butt. The other thing to think about is your abs. So sometimes we don't think about our abs because we're laying on it. But having a little bit of contraction in the abs helps also with stabilizing the spine. All right, we're going to try lifting the arms as I lift my chest. So kind of imagine like you have a frozen shoulder and everything is contracting. And so when you lift the chest, your arms actually come off the floor with the torso. Because your arms connect to the torso through the shoulders, right? So here. So I haven't stepped the hands underneath my forehead. I'm just lifting it off the ground exactly where it was. Which also means that pretty much when my chest hits the floor, my forearms hit the floor. Let's do a couple more. Last one. Good. Go ahead and push yourself up and give yourself a little stretch in the spine. There's sort of a set order to Pilates in the sense that like teasers, for instance, would never be my first exercise in a class. But that doesn't mean that, that doesn't mean that it's not completely wrong. I personally wouldn't do it. But in terms of order, like there really isn't that much order other than like the warm up and then putting sort of more challenging exercise at the end. But I'm gonna like try to combine some different stuff so you can sort of see how one exercise actually influences another. So for instance, half rollback. So we're seated in the front half of the mats. Our feet are hip distance apart. We're gonna roll back, curving the spine as if we're gonna roll all the way down. If I don't go all the way down, my lower back would be the first thing that touches if I kept going, but I'm not gonna put my lower back down. Inhale to sit up nice and tall. Straight spine, or as straight as can be. Exhale, I'm gonna anchor the feet. And you should feel your abdominals because gravity is trying to pull us down and we're resisting that. Keep those shoulders relaxed away from the ears. So I'm gonna combine some exercises here. So first let's do a little bit of arms. So we pull one back and that kind of rotates the rib cage a little bit. Good, inhale. And then exhale the other. I'm pulling just one arm. I'm not bringing the other arm all the way around. Good. Now I'm gonna start to involve the legs. So we're gonna lean back into our curve, our spinal flexion, and I'm gonna have you lift one leg off the ground and then the other. And then if you recall what bicycle is, it's extending one leg straight as the other one bends. Now test the waters first. You don't need to bend either leg. It's just pull one in a little closer and then extend one out. If it feels okay, you can start to straighten the other leg. So this is bicycle. We've done this when we do our single leg stretch where we bend one knee and then straighten the other. But now we're doing this in our half rollback position. All right, try to be as still as possible other than with the legs. Now, can we add some rotation? So if my front knee is bent, I'm gonna turn towards the front knee, which means I'm gonna pull my front arm back. All right, so it's like these two match and then switch. because when I do bicycle, I normally turn towards the bent knee. So I'm still doing that. Pull, pull. So this elbow is attached to this knee joint, like your puppets, pulling on a string. Good, keep breathing. Inhale and exhale, just alternate the breath. Learning how to breathe no matter how tough it gets. All right, you really want to keep round in the spine though, so we don't hurt our lower back. So a couple more of these. Good, now I'm going to have you reach the arms forward again. Keep cycling the legs if you can, and now take your lower back to the floor. All right, so now we're in your familiar position of bicycle. So go ahead and bring those hands behind the head, and we're gonna do bicycle. Don't worry, we're not gonna do this again later during the ab series. Good, try to keep both shoulder blades off the floor as we rotate and turn towards the bent knee. Give me about 4 more. 3, keep alternating the breath. 2, and 1. Good. Take a quick break. And then we're going to go into our double leg stretch. So I'm skipping the single leg stretch today. But double leg stretch, if you recall, is both legs straightening. So double legs. And the arms are also straightening. And you can determine how challenging you want to make the exercise, how hard it is to maintain imprint, depending on the angle of your arms and legs. So the lower the legs and arms, the more challenging it is. Now, if you'd like to lift the head, neck, and shoulders, go ahead and do that. And I'm going to combine this with a rollover. Okay? So the rollover, really quickly here, is you're going to extend the legs. You're going to bring those arms down, and then with a little bit of momentum, you're going to kick it up and over. Now, if you don't want to go all the way over to parallel, that's fine. You can do what I call a hip raise, like this. And then you are back to double leg stretch. Okay? Let's go over that again, really. We could do this several times. Don't worry about like rushing through learning any of this stuff, because as you're doing it, you're getting the workout. So we reach out, exhale, inhale. My head is up, so I'm going to put it down. My hands are going down, and extend the legs. Take it up and over. Exhale. Inhale to hold. Lift those legs a little bit. Exhale, roll back down. And then if you want to keep your head on the ground, you can, and you extend those legs again. All right, if my head is staying on the ground, as I bring it in, I bring my hands to the floor. You can extend the leg on the diagonal, use a little bit of momentum to come up and over. Inhale to lift. Exhale, roll down, pressing into the floor with the hands. And then this time I'm just going to lift my head, neck, and shoulder blades to do my double leg stretch. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Straighten the legs. Exhale. Inhale. Lift the legs a little bit. Exhale. Roll down. Let's do this just one more time. Again, take your time with it. Head, neck, and shoulders can be up or down. Double leg stretch. Exhale, reach. Inhale, return. I'm taking my hands down. Now you can kick straight up and over this way, but I kind of prefer kicking my legs, extending, and then swinging it with my legs straight. Inhale to lift just a little bit. Try to keep the head on the floor for that roll down. And then we are done. So we're done here. Let's give our abs a break by flipping onto our stomach. Everyone okay? Good. All right, thanks for the thumbs up. Okay, so on your floor, go ahead and stack your hands underneath your forehead. Like this.
Yep, and then we're gonna, once again, keep the feet underneath the floor. Did I say underneath? We're gonna keep the feet on the floor, and we're gonna lift the weight of our arms under the forehead. So I'm gonna add a little bit of choreography to this, but this is the basic movement. Inhale to lift, arms up. The head, neck, and shoulders, or I should say head and chest really, are all coming off the ground at the same time. And what I said previously still applies. You can squeeze your butt, you can squeeze your quads, even though it's not coming off the ground. Just notice how that feels different, right? And keep your legs perfectly relaxed and try to lift with your spine. And now squeeze your quads, squeeze your butts, and then try to lift with your spine muscles. So adding a little bit of arms, options, you can lift here, you can reach to the side, back to the forehead and down, or if you want a little more challenge, you can reach more forward, like a Y position, back to the forehead and down. So this is endurance of the spine muscle because as you're moving the arms, your spine muscles are staying engaged to keep that chest up at the same height until you are ready to go back down. Inhale, keep alternating the breath. Exhale, reach. Inhale, return. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach. Inhale, return. Exhale, lower. So either the Y or the T, and sometimes it really depends on just how your shoulders are feeling. If you feel sort of like there's an impingement of the shoulders when you reach forward, then you might not want to reach forward. It is a little bit more work for the spine muscles muscularly to reach forward compared to reaching to the side. All right, let's do two more, or if you are done with it because you know your body and your spine has had enough, then go ahead and sit back and find that spine stretch. Remember, you want to kind of roll over like there's a beach ball sitting on your lap. Well, it doesn't have to be a beach ball. It could be a basketball, I guess. Any sort of round object. I guess it could be a teddy bear too. You can roll over a teddy bear. Okay, so we're sitting up again. And this time we're going to change the exercise just a little bit. So we're going to roll back again. Oh, sorry, before I continue, I'm going to have your feet, well, actually it doesn't really matter. We'll try both versions. So for now, feet are hip distance apart. Roll back. Lift one leg. I'm lifting my front leg. Bend it. Roll up. Good. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, straighten the back leg or the other leg. Bend. And roll up. And now I'm going to lift both legs. And my legs are apart, so hip distance apart. Exhale. Inhale. So my legs are apart. Exhale. Inhale. Lengthen. We're going to try a couple versions of the feet apart version. Keep doing one leg at a time if you like. I'm going to be doing doubles, and we'll make sure we do even numbers. So we do 4 more. So you can do just right leg, and then the next one you can do just the left leg. Exhale, keep alternating the breath. Shoulders, staying down and away from those ears. I believe we have one more. I mean, it's shocking if I can't count to 4, right? It's more like I just don't remember the last number I said. Okay, now we're going to try it with the legs together. So it's just going to feel a little different. I would encourage everyone to try both legs lifting, but you don't have to straighten both legs. So it feels a little, I guess I would say not simpler necessarily, but more stable because your legs are relying on each other. So you're squeezing your legs together like there's a towel in between. And if you don't want to straighten your legs all the way, you don't have to. You can do that. But this should feel a little different than when you had your legs individually moving. Really squeeze the legs together. Like your whole body, almost, you should feel a little bit more abdominal recruitment, because when you're squeezing your legs together, you actually end up recruiting muscles through your pelvis more, right? If you've ever squeezed any object between your legs, you should feel that the pelvic floor muscle engaged more. And that is connected to our abdominal muscles, so all of a sudden everything just feels more tight. Last one. Good. And now we're going to combine this with rolling like a ball. So we come here, straighten the leg, roll back just to your shoulder blades, come back, pause, bend the knee, sit up. Half roll back, your legs are together, straighten my legs, roll, crunch. So use your abs to crunch, pause, bend the knees, sit up into your full, well, your starting position, I should say. Exhale, half roll back. Straighten the legs. And you should probably want to start to roll back just because of the way your abs are working. And then crunch up. Bend the knees. And lift up. Any questions? By the way, when you roll back, it's a little bit of just like the weight of gravity pulling you back. And when you crunch up, you're using your abdominals. The way we were crunching earlier, it's the same muscle, and that should give you enough momentum to come back. But you don't want a ton of momentum because your goal is to finish here. And if you have too much momentum, you're actually just going to do kind of a crash landing. So everything needs to be a little bit of control. So let's do one more together. So half roll back, straighten the legs. Inhale, exhale. Notice that's part of the teaser, right? When we kind of lower the legs and sit up. Good, so you'll see parts of the teaser in this. Go ahead and roll all the way down. Okay. And then come, bend your knees, and we're gonna go into our hip bridges. So we're just gonna give our abdominals a little break, and then we wanna practice spine neutral. So we've been in that curved spine, that spine flexion for a little bit of a while, and it's probably gonna, we don't wanna ever stay in the same position too long. So this is our neutral spine. So instead of articulating the way up, I'm just pushing my hips straight up with no articulation. So imagine your spine is like a cutting board. It's nice and hopefully a flat cutting board, and the whole thing lifts up, and the whole flat cutting board just plops down, okay? So we're gonna do this with one leg now. And if you'd like, you can always keep the knee bent, so it'd be in tabletop. Today's position, just again for variety, you've done shoulder bridges before with me and in other events, classes, and it's just about variety. So instead of having a vertical leg, we're gonna have a diagonal leg. So roughly about 45 degrees-ish, good. And you're going to lift and lower, lift and lower. This feels a little different than if your leg was vertical, and it does feel different if your leg is here, okay? Squeeze that quadricep, really feel the extension of the leg. Like that leg really wants to reach to the far wall where it meets the ceiling, so the high diagonal. Good. Pressing through, little heel that's on the ground, really focusing on the glutes. Give me one more here. And then in the peak of the motion, this should be a straight line, shoulders, hips, knees, and heels. Good, try the other side. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. So we are forming a straight line from shoulder through that straight lace ankle. Remember when I said in the warm-up, like, think about reaching your knees away from your shoulders?
Yes, you're reaching that knee, but you're reaching that toe away from your shoulders. So really finding that length. Give me one more. We're gonna go back to the first leg. When the leg is within our boundaries of our hips and shoulders, close to the midline, it's always easier. Now we're gonna take that leg out to the side, away from the midline. So out to the side like that, good. And it's about, I'd say anywhere from 15 to 30 degrees. You don't wanna go too far because it's gonna mess with like, your alignment and your hip, and it might make your hip dip. All right, so pick your angle, but there's no right or wrong angle. It's really about challenge. So go ahead and lift the hips, take the leg out to the side, back in, and then down. Lift, reach, return, and down. Find that reach, lengthen, out to the side. Now when I go out to the side, I'm doing my best not to go up and out to the side, okay? I'm simply going left, well, because it's my left leg, versus up and left. And a little bit more glute work because we're staying up a little longer as our legs, as our straight leg does some sweeping. Last one here. Lift, sweep, return, and down. Switch sides. So you should feel your abdominals grip a little bit more when your leg sweeps. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, lift, sweep, return, and down. Exhale, inhale, exhale, and down. And any breath work works. So if you would prefer to inhale, lifting the butt, but exhale as the leg goes out away from the midline, you can do that. Because that exhale will help recruit the abdominals more as that leg deviates from the midline. So you want to use your breath where it helps you the most. So if you feel like that's the most amount of exertion, more exertion than lifting my butt, then you do want to exhale there. Oh, you can see when my leg lifts higher than it's supposed to. Camera doesn't lie. See me cheating. It's not really cheating if you lift your leg higher, but it does change the exercise. All right, last one here. Okay. All right, so let's flip over, get a little bit more spine extension. Brushstroke, taking the arms to the full range of motion. And if we're swimming, we'd also involve our legs. So I'm gonna lift my legs with my quads nice and straight, glute contracted when my arms reach to the back. So reach the arms forward, your chest is down. My chest is down, my arms are like half an inch off the floor. Inhale, sweep it back, and lift. Exhale to lower the legs, sweep the arm forward. My chest is down. As I sweep the arm back, I lift the chest, I lift the legs, reach the arm back, open up the chest, but I'm not looking up, remember? Gotta keep my head and neck aligned with the spine. Exhale. So trying to get full range of motion in the shoulder joint here. My arms get really close to the floor as I exhale and reach forward. And then they get a little higher off the floor when I reach back because it's staying with my shoulder height. Let's try about 3 or 4 more, whatever works for your body. Okay, do your best not to look up. There's a huge tendency to want to look up when the arms are reaching behind us. But yes, it's boring to look at the floor, but it's also just as boring to look at your wall. So there's nothing to look at. So let's just look at the floor and protect our neck. All right, I'm gonna stretch after this one. So hands down and push yourself up. We're gonna go into a plank next. I'm gonna do this plank on my wrists.
And we're going to alternately lift one arm up. So before I even lift up, get into your hands and knees position. So your knees are underneath your hips and your wrists are underneath your shoulders. And the motion is, I'm gonna pull my elbow up, squeeze my shoulder blade towards the spine, and then push it back down. So it's not just lift the elbow, like really think about pulling back, like you're doing a dumbbell row, pull, okay? We have a couple options here, and I want you to try both, and then when we do, so we'll do 4 of each, and then we'll do 4 more, and so the last one you can decide which one you want to do. This version, believe it or not, does work your abs. So neutral spine, tuck the toes under, lift the knees. So right here, there is work in your abs, even though we're not in a fully extended plank. All right, then pull. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart because you need that stability. Return. Pull. Exhale. Inhale, return. Exhale. Inhale. Last one. Exhale. Inhale. Take a break if you need, or extend the legs back. Notice my butt is pretty much in position where it is already, right? From here, extend my legs back. My butt really didn't have to change. Make sure your feet are at least shoulder distance or hip distance apart. Pull. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Feel those shoulder blades slide in. Last one. Take a break if you need. We're going to do 4 more. You can either do it in an extended plank position or go back to a bent knee position. Here we go. Final 4. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Try not to rotate the pelvis too much. Exhale. Inhale. Last one. Exhale. Inhale. Now, normally, you can, like in a fitness class, I'll talk about take your feet super wide as you want. And the wider your feet are, the less chance of your hips moving. But in Pilates, I purposely actually just had you take it about hip distance apart. And it does create more challenge, right? Because your base is not as wide. So you might have noticed like your pelvis might have moved a little bit. And that's okay. It's part of the challenge. All right, so how are we doing with all that stuff? Okay, so we're going to move the top leg. Go ahead and extend your body nice and straight. Flex the feet. So we've been pointing it for much of today. So I want everyone to flex their feet and really reach out through their heel. And quads nice and tight as well. Here's your kickstand hand. You should feel a little unstable. That's how you know you're in the right position. Okay, from here, lift the top leg. Good. We'll do a couple leg lifts here just to set up our hips. Make sure your hips are pressing down and not hiking with each leg lift. See that? See how my hand moves? You don't want that. You want to keep your pelvis stacked, right over left, and stable as your leg lifts. Keep your feet parallel to each other. Constantly reach the heel out. Quads stay nice and tight. All right, we're going to do everything in a flexed foot position right now. So the first movement is going to be called bend and extend. Bend is here. Bring it forward. Most likely you need your hand on the floor because if you don't have it there, the weight of your leg is going to drop you down. And then extend. Bend it forward. And when you extend, imagine like you're pushing some really heavy object away. You got to use your imagination here. Pull. Use your abs. Pull. Push. There's resistance in each direction. There's a 100-pound bowling ball at your feet and you're pushing that bowling ball. You want it to start rolling, but you have to use a lot of strength to start the rolling. In and out. You gotta keep the foot flexed. So the more you use your imagination, the more your muscles start to get fatigued. All right, last one. Now keep the legs straight. Kick it as far forward as you can, keeping it parallel. Now, one thing about kicking as far forward, I should say kick it as far forward as you can without losing your neutral spine. So you probably can't see me, but if you imagine I was laying down, you don't want to do this while you're kicking forward. You want to have that neutral spine as you kick forward. All right, that's what you want to do while you're laying down. And as you keep your abs tight and really maintain that neutral spine, you should feel your hamstring stretch. The work on the outer thigh, you start to feel it because you keep the leg at hip height. We're not letting it go down to the ground, rest there, and then lift it back up. Nope, we're keeping it. Good. And then the final exercise for this leg, and I'm going to flip over to the other side. Yeah, this is it. We're not doing that much, but quality over quantity. Hopefully you feel it by now. Is the bicycle. So how would you ride your bike with one leg? You would bend the knee, and then I do mean like an exaggerated bicycling. And then maybe a little bit behind you, right? Because that cycling goes slightly behind you. So don't go too far back because you don't want to fall on your butt. But try to do the most exaggerated bicycle you can do. So I pull the heel toward the butt, as it's the revolution. Reach it forward, finish the revolution slightly behind, bend, do a hamstring curl, work those hip flexors, squeeze the quads, get those legs nice and straight. Right? There's a lot going on, utilizing all the leg muscles when you ride the bike. All right, a couple more times. We're only going to ride it forward. And last time. All right, good. So hopefully you felt the quads because you're keeping your legs straight the whole time. And then you felt the outer thighs because you kept the leg at hip height the whole time. And you felt, what else are you feeling? Oh, your hamstrings. I hope you felt your hamstrings being stretched and your calves being stretched because you kept your foot flexed the whole time. All right, make sure your body's straight. Test the instability. And then, again, set up that pelvis. Set up the hips. So what I'm doing, in case you can't really tell from the video, is I'm actually pushing my hip down. And if I were to not push my hip down, and I kind of relaxed it, and I let my hip move, then you would see my hand move. So I'm almost like by force holding my hip in place. And you can eventually do it without having to hold it there because you can feel. You can feel whether your hip moves. Sometimes when you first start learning an exercise, you need like feedback, right? Like actual tactile feedback. So that's what having a hand there is. So really keep the foot flexed. Sometimes we forget about the feet and it just becomes kind of in neutral and relaxed. So keep reaching those heels, both of them, bottom leg too. Let's not forget about the bottom leg. Both quads are engaged, both heels are flexed. Okay, so let's go ahead and bend and extend. So lift the leg to hip height, bend it forward, push away that 100-pound ball. Good, it's not going in and out really fast. Exhale, inhale, or if you want, inhale, exhale. So see, the reason why it doesn't matter about breathing, I mean, it matters that you are breathing, it's just that exhale generally happens on exertion, and we want to actually exert in both directions. So just keep alternating your breath, whatever comes natural to you. Guys, you really, again, be feeling these leg muscles if you are contracting your legs and extending it fully every time. Let's go ahead and keep the legs straight. Keep the spine neutral. Oh, geez, my left side is so tight. I barely have any range of motion going forward. That's okay. I'm going to slowly increase that flexibility of the hamstring there. See, the goal isn't to kick so far forward that you have to bend your knee.
just go to the limits of where your legs can stay straight. It's not about how much distance you cover. It's about keeping the legs straight and then slowly gaining more and more range of motion with that straight leg. So feel your abdominals maybe kick in a little bit more when the legs go forward. Okay. And the bicycle. It's kind of combining the bend and extend and the forward leg swing all in one. Try your best to keep your leg at hip height. I know it's getting tired and it wants to go towards the ground. The most amount of exaggeration you can do. All right, a couple more. I'm really feeling it. Hopefully you are. Okay. Just a few minutes to do a little bit more abs. So go ahead and find your way to your back again. And this is going to be kind of like a hamstring stretch too. So always stretching and strengthening in one. So our scissors, all right, let's not get into it that way, sorry. So on your back, we're in-fronted, bring your legs up to tabletop, straighten your legs. So we're gonna do scissors. I just broke apart our abdominal series tonight, but we're going to add in a little bit component of the bicycle. So first, decide which leg is your favorite and pull it up. Good, and then from here, instead of just keeping both legs straight, you're gonna scissor like this, right? I'm gonna pull the knee in. So this top leg is going down straight, and then this one is coming in bent. Okay, so variation on this. So in, out. So what your goal here is you're trying to pull the knee as far as you can. Let's say it's right here. And then as I try to straighten my leg, I'm gonna try to keep my knee where it is. It's quite impossible for me because as I straighten my leg, my hamstring gets so tight, my thigh has to shift this way, okay? But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna stop my leg here knowing that it's gonna eventually end here. I'm still gonna pull my knee in as much as I can, try to straighten the leg, closer and closer to my head, right? So a deeper stretch. If I was really flexible, then I would have this leg angle like here, but I'm not. That makes sense? So in, you can do this with your head down, of course. So my top leg is going down straight, my bottom leg is coming in bent. There's that scissor. There's the bicycle and then into the scissor. Bicycle into the scissor. Bicycle into the scissor. Inhale, exhale. Keep breathing. Find what works for you. I'm inhaling as I do the cycling motion. I'm exhaling as I straighten the leg. Inhale, exhale. Do we need to keep holding onto our legs? Yeah, it does help with our stretch, but let's focus on the abs. Take those hands away. Keep reaching with those arms. Pull those shoulders off the ground. Last two, last one. Okay. Plug your knees in. Let's lengthen the body. So when I pop my rib cage and really, really arch my back off the mat, that is what not to do in Pilates if you're trying to strengthen your abs. But right now we're stretching it, so it's fine. But if you ever find yourself where your rib cage is popped out, you have an excessive, see, this is excessive, right? I can get like almost my whole arm underneath. Normally in neutral, I can only get a few fingers. So that's what you don't want to do when you're in neutral and when you're trying to strengthen your abdominals. All right, and you can roll yourself up any way you like.
We definitely done a lot of hamstring stretch already, so I'm just going to do some side bends here since we did work the obliques a lot today. Keeping both butt cheeks on the ground. Feel that length here. Other side. And then just before we end, set up nice and tall and do a quick torso twist, spine twist. Again, stretching those obliques. And then the other side. Thanks for coming to Pilates. Always interested in hearing your feedback when I try and teach new stuff. I mean, nothing's really new. It's all Pilates principles. Oops, dropped my phone. It's all Pilates principles, but just, you know, varying up some of the order and some of the exercises variations.